Hey everyone, Mike here. I want to talk about forgiveness. I want to tell you a story. Growing up in Brooklyn, over 40 years ago, we lived in a brownstone apartment house. We lived on the first floor, and there was a family that lived up on the top floor. And for whatever reason, we just didn't get along with that family. They had 3 boys. One was my age, and then 2 were older than me. And one day, the middle boy, who was about 4 years older than me, and 4 years makes a big difference when you're 13 years old. That's almost like a man compared to a 13-year-old. Well, one day he decided to pounce on me outside of the house. And my mother and father came running out to stop him. And I'll never forget some of the horrible things and insulting things that he was saying to my mother and my father. And that hurt me so bad, and it put such an anger in my heart. I remember thinking and planning on how I can kill this guy. And I remember a few years later, we moved, not too long after that, we moved to Long Island. So a few years later, I remember thinking how one day I would go back to Brooklyn and murder this guy for what he did. Now, I know a lot of you out there probably had a lot worse done to you than that, but it did hurt me. And it put such an anger in my heart. But then years after that, in my early 20s, I gave my life to the Lord, and I realized that it was time to forgive. And as hard as it was, I had to forgive that guy. Maybe some of you are having a hard time forgiving. Maybe someone has done something to you that was pretty horrible and maybe even life-scarring. And I want to encourage you about forgiveness, how important it is. You know, a lot of times we talk about the essentials of salvation, and we say things like, you need to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. You need to believe in the Trinity. You need to believe in the resurrection. Those are all true. But very rarely do I hear someone say, you need to believe in forgiveness. Jesus said, if you don't forgive, God won't forgive you. And that sounds pretty essential and serious to me. So if you're struggling with forgiveness, maybe there's someone in your heart, someone in your past, someone in your life that has done you wrong, I want to encourage you, today is the day to get your heart right with God and forgive that person or those people. Remember how much God has forgiven you. We grieved God too. You know, God can be grieved. God has feelings too. That's why we have feelings. We were made in the image of God. The difference is God's feelings are holy and righteous. When God is grieved, he's grieved at the right time. When God is angry, he's angry at the right time. We just have a way of messing those feelings up in our lives. But God is a righteous God, and he has feelings too. So I want to encourage you and remind you that we have grieved God, and yet he's forgiven us. And we need to learn how to forgive others. So if you're struggling with that today, I hope this is an encouragement to you. Today is the day to forgive someone who has hurt you. Be set free from that. Move on in the Lord. Grow in your faith and have confidence that God has forgiven you because you have forgiven others. God bless you and have a good day.